Mr. Evans, how you doing?
I'm great. How about yourself, Joey?
I'm doing good. David Evans, thank you for joining us. This is actually my very first interview. I thank you for coming, talking to me. It's not like we never talked before.
I
Uh, I
know.
want I want to talk to you about how we first met at the end, but I want to get into the bread and butter. West Point, Mississippi. I mean, coming out of high school, colleges were all over you. Tell me a
Yeah.
little about the recruitment process.
Uh, it can be fun, really fun, traveling, seeing these different campuses, but it can be stressful because, as a kid, you don't realize what you're in store for the next 4 or 5 years, going to college and meeting new people and being the big fish in a small pond in high school, and you get into college and boom, there's big fish everywhere. So,
How many colleges were looking at you?
oh gosh, Joy, shoot, 15, 20, everybody in the SEC. Um, and I'm from West Point, so Mississippi State was only 15 minutes away. Ole Miss, an hour and a half. So,
Uh, any schools that really like besides Ole Miss? I mean, of course, Ole Miss had an impact on you. Any other schools that you probably thought about going to that had an impact?
uh, you know, I didn't know until the end of recruitment that um, Alabama really took interest, but due to unforeseen circumstances beyond my control, I never got to talk to them. So, but Auburn was really interesting. Um, and in Mississippi State and Ole Miss, they were always the front runners.
What was the deciding factor? Because as I recall, you and me talking. I mean, we've been knowing each other for years now. You was not really an Ole Miss fan, but you wasn't. You was more of a football. You was a football fan, but you wasn't exactly like me. Like I love Alabama. Uh,
No, the only school that I've ever cared about like that was the University of Miami. And growing up, I just loved the University of Miami. So that was a big deal. I didn't get recruited by them because I'd have been in Miami on the beach somewhere.
yeah, I mean, of course, you had Michael Irvin and who else?
Well,
During your time,
yeah, my guy.
you was playing during the Ray Lewis and Warren Sapp era.
Yeah.
And of course, let's mention the great one, the People's Champ, The Rock. But so I mean, I want to go and touch in point. What was the difference between, you said Mississippi State was 30 minutes away, and Oxford was an hour and a half away. What
I
was
want
the an hour and a half? What was the difference between Mississippi State and Ole Miss? What was the deciding factor?
the people at Ole Miss started recruiting me, I think like 10th grade. And it just really, really felt like home. Those people felt like people I connected with. And I never had a personal connection with anybody in Mississippi State. And that weighed heavily on my decision.
Yeah. Uh, kind of. I was hoping you was going to transition into it, but you got to tell the story. I mean, this is the funniest story ever. Because
It was
when you first told me that, you told me this about like 2016. I remember I was crying for 2 days when you told me this. But tell
man.
the story. I'm not gonna say it. You tell the story.
So when I initially made it public that I was going to Ole Miss, I got a call from the recruiter at Mississippi State. He was scrambling. He was like, "No, no, you can't do this." And just out of the blue, me not knowing any better, I'm a little kid. I mean, 18 years old, and I'm like, he's like, whatever Ole Miss is offering you, we can match it. And I'm like, me being dumbfounded, I'm like, what you mean, a scholarship? and 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 he looked at me with this crazy look, and I'm just like, well, I mean, everybody's offering a scholarship, so I don't know what you're talking about. And that was just hilarious, come to find out later, whatever it was, but I got a scholarship.
You just told me I could just because I know you. I remember just picturing in my mind like a scholarship? Like what the? I don't understand. Like what more can you offer me?
I know exactly.
We're gonna fast forward a little bit. The 1994 Florida game. Now, this may bring up some bad memories. You lost this game, but this was exactly your coming out party right here. I mean, you went up against Kevin Carter and Ellis Johnson, two former NFL players out of Florida. And people really thought that they were going to run over that offense of Ole Miss. Like, nobody was going to hold these guys. And even though y'all lost, I mean, I know 94 season wasn't exactly the greatest year for Ole Miss, but, Billy Brewer got fired. The athletic director resigned. But as for an individual, this game right here, as I recall, that this is what people saw. Like, this is what people saw in David Evans. That you stopped these guys who dominated the defense and other offenses in the SEC. You had an answer for them. Tell me what was your mindset going into this game?
Well, I remember that game really vividly. One of my roommate at the time, he was playing running back, Mark Smith, and he got hurt early in the game. He dislocated his elbow, and I don't know, that just did something to me. And I can just remember banging up on Kevin Carter and Ellis Johnson, and I was hitting Kevin Carter so hard, and I was smashing him in the ground, and he kept saying, "Hey, man, it's not that serious." But, at that time, I think that's when I knew that, I could play with any of those guys in the SEC, on any given day. And at that time, I was on offense, and I transitioned back to defense my junior and senior years. So, good game. I mean, we lost, but it made me feel good.
For people who don't know who Kevin Carter is, he played for the Titans, the Dolphins. He was a two-time Pro Bowler, won a Super Bowl. Ellis Johnson was also a first-round draft pick. He played with the Falcons, rise up. He played with the Broncos and the Colts. I mean, he had a nice little NFL career. And the Florida was, I don't think a lot of people remember, in the 90s, the Florida ran the SEC.
They did.
They were three-time SEC champions. I think even more. I know when Kevin Carter played, he was the three-time SEC champion. But just to show like what type of beast you were, like I remember we're gonna get into private investigating in about a couple of minutes, but I remember working two mans with you, and I start watching YouTube and watching you play. And I mean, you was a beast. I mean, you was something serious. Let's fast forward to the 96 season. What was going on with the quarterback situation there?
96. Who was our quarterback in 96? I think Paul Head started out. Oh no, it was a guy he transferred from California. Joy, I forget that guy's name.
Partridge?
Well, it's Stewart. Yeah, well, Stewart was from Jackson or the Mississippi area, but it was just no discredit to any of those guys because they're great guys, but with we had just Tuberville had came in, and Tuberville he was
I
trying to
heard,
run off of us up. Hmm?
he's very loved in Miss Oxford.
Oh yeah, right.
I
He
know
might
you
be
love
loved by some of
that.
the
Like,
guys.
just keep in mind, that's a joke on my part. I don't speak for David Evans. He has nothing but respect for Coach. Uh,
Oh, he knows that.
I don't, you know, I mean, I
But
do. I mean, he's accomplished
one
a
thing
lot.
I do know,
I just don't know.
he he is a man of his word, and he's all about you as a person and you succeeding as a man.
Right. Yeah, he seems like a good guy, even though he coached for Auburn. Uh, but that '96 season, I mean, what happened in that quarterback situation? Who ended up winning the job?
um, I think Stewart ended up winning out.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Okay. It wasn't because of injury or anything. It was just who was the best player.
Yeah, I don't think it had anything to do with injuries at that point. That '96 season is all a blur.
Now, I want to transition back to high school, and something I should have touched on earlier. Knowing you, your parents had a very big influence on you. Uh, and you and me talked candidly many times about your parents. Your
Yeah.
mother, your mother's a saint. I never met the lady, but everything that you talked about her, she, if she's not a saint, I don't know who could be. Father, however, had a lot of influence on you. What kind of influence did they have in making the decision to go to Ole Miss or making the decision to go anywhere?
Um, it was always they left it up to me. They never tried to influence me. They said I had to be there. I had to be the one to play. I had to be the one to go to school. So, but considering Ole Miss history, a lot of my family, uh, excuse me, a lot of my family were skeptical about it, but I felt really good about the decision. My parents felt really good about the decision. So
Okay. Uh, your dad, how many? Do you go to every game or?
they went to every home game, all the Alabama games. They were there front and center. It might have taken them. My mom, she would fuss at my dad every Saturday morning because he wanted to lag around, but they were there.
Yeah. How many? At the 4 years you play, how many times did Alabama win?
I plead the fifth.
We don't got that much time, but I wish we could tell the story about how like one day I came. I don't want to get too much into it, but basically I used to pick on me. Like, how many semesters did you go to Alabama, Joey?
Yeah, I know. You're the biggest Alabama fan I know. And that was my running joke. Where did your
Yeah.
degree come from? Did you get your degree from Alabama?
And we do this again. We got to get into because we had some big time laughs in the car. Real fast, tell me how it was playing with some of the John Avery, Chris Massam, Nate Wayne. Nate is a big name. Spearman, and the former head coach Matt Luke. How was it playing with these guys?
All those guys are great guys. A lot of them I still have relationships with today. Me and Nate were roommates in college. Good guy. He lives here in Georgia as well. Um, it's just those bonds, they'll last forever. Just guys, more than just teammates. We've shed blood and cried and, just been each other's rock over the years because those 4 years were tough as an athlete, a student athlete. And the biggest thing is, get something out of it. I mean, your education. Football, it doesn't last forever. In some cases, hopefully you can go on and make a buttload of money playing football, but most people don't. So that education is key.
I think that's a good point. I think that's, a lot of people miss. They don't understand that, even though we enjoy college football, these are still 18, 22-year-old kids on that
Exactly.
football field. You think about that guy who I forgot his name. I don't want to give him too much. Advertisement, but the guy who burned it, put chemicals in the trees and
Oh yeah.
disrespectful fans. These are still kids. They're there to get one reason only, to get an education. And
Exactly.
so I think I lose bases on it too. You see me when Alabama loses. When the Falcons lose, I'm used to that now. So, but maybe one day they'll win it all. I don't know. Anyway, tell me, before we get into Magnolia, I want you to tell me two things. One, Matt Luke, former teammate, he's gone. Lane Kiffin, he's in. What do you think is going to happen?
I still think they're rebuilding, and I don't know. I don't really know what the quarterback situation will be like this year, but I do know Lane Kiffin is a brilliant offensive mind, so that we'll see. But offense is normally never the issue. It's always the defense. So we got to see what the defense is looking like, and the depth of the cornerbacks and things of that nature, because you go to playing the Alabamas and the LSUs and the receivers, they just tough. So,
As an Ole Miss fan, are you worried about Lane Kiffin's history or just moving on?
well, it can't be too much worse than other coaches that have came and left, only there a short period of time. So, we'll see. Maybe he might be the next Nick Saban at Ole Miss. You just never know. Hey, that's a product of one of Nick Saban's tree.
You heard it here first. Yeah. Okay. Two things. Tell me how it was tackling Peyton Manning. I hear it. I know you lost that game too, but you put your hand. Did you put your hands on him?
Yeah, I think that's about all I did was put my hands on him.
You talking about an NFL Hall? You think quarterback position? You think Peyton Manning? And as I recall, you sacked him twice. So
Now, I don't think so. I think it was once.
just one. Well, you know how many times I sacked Peyton Manning? Yeah, 0. Yeah. How it was when you put your hands on him.
Man, you going back ancient history. You know how old I am. I'm not gonna say it out loud. My memory is very vague.
See, to me, the cool thing about you, and you're so modest about your accomplishments, and to you, that was a Saturday. For me, if that happened to me, that would have been. I'll be telling everybody. I'll wake up telling everybody. But we got to, I want to touch bases real fast about Magnolia Investigations. I told you at the beginning of the interview, I want to tell you how we met. We're both private investigators. I've done a lot of work for you, a lot of cases for you. But you was one of the pinnacle people that trained me. And I remember the first day we met, and I was like, hey, my name is Joey. And you was like, your name is David. And I was like, David, hey, where are you from, David? And he was like, I'm from Mississippi. Okay, cool. What's your full name? David Evans. And I started laughing. And I was like, there was a football player back in the day named David Evans that played for Ole Miss. And you looked up that, He was like, I played for Ole Miss. And I was like, you wouldn't be like 60 while you playing defense, would you? Because that's how that's how I remember you. Because I remember watching, I think it was the 96 season, and I was just getting into football, and I was getting the football prior to that, but I just at that time I was watching any game was on TV, and how weird it was for this guy to be wearing number 60, playing defense, and that just stuck with me. It's like some players just stuck with me, and for 20 years, I was sitting there like that was always in my mind. This guy playing, wearing number 60 on defense, and then it was so weird that I'm meeting this guy, and you basically trained me how to be a private investigator and how to the right and wrong. I remember the first day you trained me. I remember calling my wife and talking about I really don't like this guy. This guy, because the thing about Magnolia Investigations, and one thing, if you're going to ever work for Magnolia Investigations and work a case, it's a little weird. It's not weird. It's the word I'm looking for is unique because as you being the case manager, you demand perfection. And if you're not going to give 100% to the case, why come to work? And that's something that you instill in me as a private investigator, that if you're not going to give 100%, why are you here? People are paying good money for you to do a job. And I've done a couple cases for you, and I'll tell you, if I ever lost a claimant or a subject, I was, I'm not scared of no man, you know that, but I was hesitant to pick that phone up and had to tell you that I lost a subject or a claimant. So tell me how Magnolia Investigations got started, and what's your vision in the future for it?
When was it? 2001. That's when my football career officially ended. I was playing arena football and with the Orlando Predators, and I got cut. And on my way back, I didn't know what I was going to do, and I just found a job with Delta Investigations. At that time, they were out of near Orlando, and they hired me back in Atlanta. And I worked for them for a couple of years. And in 2006, I started Magnolia Investigations, and it took off from there. It's been a lot of ups and downs with the economy, but for the most part, we're still here. Small operation. We have about 4 investigators throughout the state of Georgia, and I think I have 3 throughout the state of Alabama. So, hey, we're here. We do a lot of insurance surveillance, activity checks, canvases, scene incidents. So we're here to just service the insurance industry.
I'm not saying this because I got you on the phone. I said this to you many times in person. When you talk about being one of the greats in private investigating, you have taught me more than I could probably ever comprehend. I remember the first case, the 2 men we worked together, and I was losing them, and I was in training with you, and you got on the phone. You're like, Joey, what's going to happen if you lose this guy? You always make me think, and every case I ever worked to this day, I always think, everybody heard the phrase WWJD. Mine's WWD. D. What would David do? I know when I first started, I've been game for a couple years now. I'm not a rookie no more, but I remember when I first started out, I blew your phone up, and I was like, David, I'm about to be burned. What should I do? Get your camera ready. But I'm gonna tell people this: if you want to be working for a good private investigating company, and if you really want to learn your craft, David Evans is the guy to talk to. He trained me. I always will be indebted to you. You know this. And if it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't be as average as a private investigator that I am. But if you was in my life training me, I'll probably be below average. So, but you are one of the best private investigators in the state of Georgia, Mississippi, and Alabama. So I'm here to tell you that if you really, really want to get the best Magnolia investigations, you may get me. You never know. You may get me. I may be working the case for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm above average. But so what? Before I let you go, you got anything you want to say to the Ole Miss fans? You know, they're getting ready for a season. I mean, if they're gonna play football, what do you got to say to them?
Well, that was just it. Hopefully everything turns out all right and everybody's safe and we can get this football season underway. And I really do think, hey, whether win, lose, or draw, it's going to be exciting. It's always a party playing at Ole Miss, and the fans are always excited. So it'll be a good thing.
David, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. I'm probably going to end up talking to you later. Like I said, it's an honor knowing you. It's been a pleasure, and thank you for doing this.
Yeah, and one other thing, if you need some surveillance or investigator service, you can always reach us at www.magnoliainvestigations.com.
That's it. And I'm telling you right now, you are going to get the best because he demands the best. And I speak firsthand. It's no game with him. If you're an investigator for David Evans, you're going to be the best. And if you don't want to give you 100% for this case, then don't come to work. He'll go out there for you. David, I appreciate you coming out, and thank you for talking to me, man.
Not a problem, Joy.
All right, catch you later, man.
All right, see you.
All right.
Here at Carolyn's Treasures, you can design your own belt. Alabama's my favorite team! Roll Tide! We don't like Auburn around here, but if you do, we will make you one of our Auburn championship belts. Ooh, yeah, this is heavy. Don't forget our championship wings! Best deals on anything. Daddy, this is really heavy. Yeah, we're dropping it.